And how long before you can get into your next relationship?
2 weeks.
I love it.
When I started out, I was nobody, and Anurag was so big, and I was kind of on the sidelines. And it's not easy. It's not easy being that when you have all these the attention on someone.
Do you date an actor again? The answer is
probably no.
No.
I'm thinking back to the time when after I had Sappho and my vagina was like a destroyed, like horrible, raw. Like I couldn't even look at my vagina.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was hard. Thank you for teaching me how to live without you.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
That's a little bitter.
Hello and welcome to In Bed with Shenaz, and today I have a very special person in my bed. Surprise!
Hello!
Hello! Good morning!
Great! What a great sleep! Oh
How
my God.
do you feel in my bed, Kalki?
It's great to wake up with you, Shenaz.
It's
really
so nice.
Yeah, so bubbly.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. So this show is all about love, sex, romance, boyfriends.
Oh dear God! Oh dear God! I'm going to get into trouble for this show. Huh?
Oh no! You're not. We'll talk in general.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. No names mentioned.
No names at all. So I wrote a book about a girl and all her boyfriends, and we're going to ask you questions, and each chapter is a different question.
All right.
So we're going to start with a breakup because it's kind of a book of breakups.
Okay.
So do you feel that there are any rules for breakup?
Oh yeah, I feel there are rules for breakup. I think that the minimum time that you should not try to be friends is 6 months.
6 months?
Depending on the length of the relationship. If it's a very long relationship, you need more than 6 months.
Wow.
But 6 months, don't try to be friends.
Yeah, very true. Otherwise you'll slip.
Yeah.
And how long before you can get into your next relationship?
2 weeks.
I love it. And what about him?
That I don't know. I don't want to know. Block him on social media.
Block him everywhere.
Yeah. Don't put yourself through any kind of
trauma. And are you a clean breakup person, or do you go back and forth, back and forth?
I've had both kinds of relationships. Yeah. So I think it's definitely better to do the clean break.
Yeah. But it's so hard.
But it's very hard.
Yeah.
So just be very sure when you want to break up.
Yeah. It takes me about like 2 years to finally break up. Like I'm thinking about it for 2 years.
Yeah. I also had another tactic when I was very young, which was just sleep with someone and then
tell the person.
And then tell him.
Tell him that I slept with someone.
Yeah.
Oh my
he breaks
God.
up with me.
Ouch.
Yeah.
But then what if you're not sure? Like what if you're like, maybe this was a mistake. I want to get back together, but now I did this. So this way you don't get back together. That's it.
That's it.
What are your 3 non-negotiables? Like things you cannot live without in a relationship?
Communication.
Yeah. Good communication.
Good communication, like proper, honest communication.
Yeah.
I mean, conflict is often the case in relationships.
Yeah.
But as long as there's, I guess, some level of honesty where you're like, hey, shit's not going well. We haven't been communicating properly.
Yeah.
Can you talk about it? And if you can't, then can we get help? You know, that kind of level.
Exactly.
Like
I believe in therapy.
Yeah.
100%.
100%. Second, I guess, something around consent and coming.
What does that mean?
Like consent is very important, that you are always feeling like you can say no at any point for anything.
For anything, right.
Not just sexually.
Yeah.
Sometimes you feel like you need to just please the other person, so you say, yeah, let's do that, let's go here.
Right.
And suddenly you're feeling you're living the other person's life.
Yeah, very
so
true.
I think being able to say no in a relationship is so important.
Yeah.
To be your own person.
What's your longest relationship?
Probably this one now. It's 7 years.
Okay.
So before this was 6 years. So yeah, we've just passed
You've just passed the 7 year age.
Yeah.
So how do you keep that sexual chemistry alive?
You know what? We have been doing long distance a lot. So when we met, we were doing long distance. There's a lot of time out.
Where does he live?
So he lives in Goa with me.
Okay.
And unfortunately now, because of what's going on, he's from Israel. So whatever has been happening there, he hasn't been able to go back.
Yeah.
But otherwise, he was also working there.
Yeah.
So, you know, it was like this
back and forth. But actually that keeps it spicy.
Yeah. When we met, I was in Bombay, he was in Jerusalem. It was like commuting up and down
Where
every
did you meet
couple
her?
of months. There, I went on a girls' trip.
No
I
way.
went on a girls' trip. Yeah, it's been amazing, and touch wood, for now it's going well.
Yeah.
You know, one baby down.
Wow. So how do you keep that chemistry alive after a baby and so many years together? What do you do?
Yeah, you really do miss your partner after you have a baby, because your whole life becomes about the baby for a few years.
Yeah.
And it's very hard to, when things are not going well, is
talk
kind of
about it.
like and that discussion, that curiosity about each other's like fantasies, you know, being open and not offended by what the other person desires or wants. That can be quite sexy once you get past the jealousy part of it.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. So now you're a successful woman. And one of the chapters in my book, the question is, can a man be threatened by a girl's success?
Obviously.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, almost always.
Yeah, almost always. Even if he's successful?
I think if he's successful, it's a little easier. But it's very rare to find a man who's totally comfortable with you just like traveling a lot, being so busy, being selfied everywhere you go, and he's in the sidelines.
They ask him to take the picture for you.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not easy. And I wonder how I would be in the similar position, which I think I was in my first marriage. When I started out, I was nobody, and Anurag was so big, and I was kind of on the sidelines. And it's not easy. It's not easy being that when you have all these the attention on someone. So it isn't.
And how do you deal with it either way? Say your partner is very, very famous. How do you deal with that? Like, would you also must be feeling like, come on, now we've come to have dinner alone, and now there are all these people around us.
It can be difficult. I think I was also so much younger then, and I found it difficult. And my, you know, like I was always wanting to run away with him, to go to places which are inaccessible, you know.
Right.
But I think now I've just accepted it as a part of life. Again, I think, you know.
What does your partner do now?
I've become much more private about my relationship.
Yeah.
I think I was such an open book earlier and heart on sleeve, quite innocent about these things and how the media functions.
Correct.
So, you know, I kind of just said everything. And now I very much, you know, hold close to me the things that are important with my partner. You know?
Okay, before we get into how does the other person feel, how, you know, can a man be threatened by a woman's success? I want to offer you some coffee, please.
Yeah, I mean, I got to give it to Guy, my partner. He's so like chilled about it. It's one of the reasons I fell for him, because when he met me, he didn't know who I was. Because he was from another country, and they didn't, you know, and so it was really a blank slate in that way.
That's so nice.
Yeah.
That is so nice.
And he got very defensive one day when his cousin came home and said, do you know she's a Bollywood actress? And he was like showing him all this Instagram shit. And he was like, I don't care. Put that away. How vulgar of you. You know?
I like that.
And he was like, that's not why I love her. So I was like, you know, and even now with like selfies and all, he's very patient and chill.
That's so important.
I'm really like, touch wood. I wouldn't have been so noble.
What kind of work does he do?
He's a pianist. He's a classical and jazz pianist.
Amazing. Yeah, so he travels around playing the piano?
Yeah, and composing as well, and teaching.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And do you feel like you got the emotional, mental, and physical stimulation all from one person? Do you think you can get all from one person?
No. Yeah, no, I don't think you can. I guess the emotional support, feeling safe.
Feeling safe.
Feeling safe is a big one.
Yeah,
absolutely. You know, I want to feel safe around the person I share my bed with.
Very true.
But otherwise, mental, even physical stimulation, even if you're in a monogamous relationship, I think like you get a lot of stimulation from your friends, from like, you know, like tactile. I'm a very tactile person.
Yes, me too.
So I don't think it can only come from one person. Yeah. Same with emotional and mental, you know.
Yeah.
Yes, I do like a mentally, you know,
challenging person.
Yeah,
you grow with that person.
Wrong, mentally challenged.
No. Oh yeah, you're right. No, I don't mean it.
But you know what I mean. Like
someone
that,
who challenges you
keeps
mentally.
You, on your toes mentally. Definitely.
Yes.
But yeah, I think it's the emotional safety
That's the most. That's the thing. So that's the one thing that
clincher.
you won't compromise on.
Yeah, and when that is threatened, then I really worry about the relationship.
Yeah. So what is your, like, what is Kalki like? Say if you are upset about something, do you sit down over a cup of coffee and talk about it calmly?
Oh boy. I have a tendency for anxiety, so I have a tendency to just like blurt everything out and be like, what are we going to do? This is what I'm feeling. I don't know about this. And, and it depends on the relationship, but definitely in my current relationship with Guy, I feel like he's much more walls up. Lots of like things just kind of, he goes cold.
Oh,
if he gets
that's
pushed.
difficult. Yeah.
And then he just like,
Stonewall.
I don't care. I don't give a damn. You know, and that's like scary as hell for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that...
Like, what's the best lesson you've learned from a relationship in the past?
Life just, life goes on. Life goes on. And, you know, when you have heartbreak, and I've been through like insomnia and terrible things because of heartbreak, you just feel like it's just never going to, you're never going to get out of it. And I guess like just like breathing through the day, just getting through one step at a time, knowing that life goes on, and reminding yourself of that. And like, I think one of the big things that's helped me is like keeping a rough diary, because the perspective you get is like, oh, look how terribly sad I was over here. But look at me today, I'm so happy. So it can really change. I mean, even if I think about 6 months back, I was in a very deep depression with everything that's going on in Gaza, and especially because of our families being involved and all of that. It was really, I was having trouble getting up in the morning.
And I'm sure listening to the news all the time.
Yeah, I couldn't detach myself. I couldn't switch off from it. I was just staying in bed and like watching one thing after another. And really like getting into a terrible loop, and our communication also broke down. So from that to cut to now, where we've really worked on certain aspects, and I've worked on certain aspects of putting boundaries for myself to be able to cope with life. And also I have a kid. It's a, you know, it's a privilege to be in despair. When you have a kid, you just have to get on. You have to feed her and bathe her, and you know, you got to be there. So in some ways, like that reminder that life goes on, and that, you know, life is here in this moment now where you are.
So 3 thank yous and a sorry to an ex.
Okay, so a thank you for teaching me to counter. So like, if I'm doing a very intense role, come back home, make sure you do something really fun and silly afterwards.
Oh, how sweet.
Yeah, do the counter. Thank you for remaining my friend.
Oh.
And thank you for teaching me how to live without you.
That's a good one. That's a little bitter. One sorry to an ex.
One sorry. Sorry that we met at the wrong time.
Oh.
Yeah.
That it's all about the timing.
Yeah.
It really is. How often should a couple have sex when they're married in a long-term relationship? What is a normal? I always ask people this.
I don't think it matters, because like it can go from, you know, once a week or no times a week to like 3 times a day.
Yeah,
like
3 times a day.
I mean, it depends what phase you are in, and you go, and the phases come up and down. You know, it
comes back.
It's
sometimes.
like the stock market. It comes back. That's what you think. Oh my God, this is a terrible spell. We're not having sex hardly ever, especially when your baby's young and you're not sleeping and all of that. But then there are other times where it's just come back with like full on.
And do you talk about it? Because I feel like talking about it makes it put more pressure in it.
Yeah, it can. Like,
do you make a conscious effort to do it? Like, what should couples do in long-term relationships?
Yeah,
I want to know.
I'm thinking back to the time when after I had Sappho and my vagina was like a destroyed, like horrible, raw. Like I couldn't even look at my vagina.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was hard, and you know, slowly like, you know, getting back to sex, and it was very painful and all of these things. And I remember talking about it, and And I think it was important for me because, like, I'm not, as I said, I'm not very good at like saying no and things. So it was very important for me to like kind of be very comfortable and say what was going on. And yeah, for me, I do think that talking helps. Yeah. Talking about it helps.
Yeah. And was he understanding? And
that
really matters.
Yeah. You know, he discreetly do what he needs to do behind the shower curtain when he needed to. I mean, you know, he had to be patient because I went through a lot with this. You know, I tore and there were stitches and nobody talks about this shit.
Yeah,
this is the shit we should be talking about. Like,
absolutely.
You know, like not just postpartum, but like literally the savageness of it, and like, you know, then there was some problem afterwards, and I had to go back to the gynec and get a surgery. Anyway. It
like
just
stitching and all that.
Yeah, it took a long time.
Oh my God. Maybe probably like a year or two.
About 7-8 months. Yeah, before I could really like be functioning again.
Wow. So, and especially when you're when your connection is like, you know, you feel more connected to your partner with sex. So what kept you guys together at that time? Like
keeping the baby alive. Don't let this thing die. That was what kept us together. Nothing else, I think. Music a little bit. I think during COVID we made up a lot of songs.
Oh, that's cute. Are you musical too?
I mean, I just like to sing. I play the ukulele, and so we used to just compose these songs, and I think that helped us.
And just like, I think being playful and monkeying around and enjoy, not making everything too serious.
Yes.
You know, sometimes we as humans make things too serious. We're just, I mean, everything is just about having fun. We're going to die in like, I don't know, some years.
Hopefully not too soon.
Oh, not soon. Like, you know, 50 years. Right? So it's just about having fun. Okay, I'm going to let you pick some questions.
In this world of options, is monogamy too much to expect? I don't think so, because monogamy is a choice. And options are no point. There's no point of having options unless you choose something from the options. Yeah. So just like a polyamorous relationship is a choice and comes with its own set of very strict boundaries and rules.
Yeah.
So is monogamy, and you both or all parties agree to those rules and boundaries before you go into it.
Yeah.
So it's
not too much to So what do you feel like you could do a polyamorous? Polyamorous relationship.
Now that I'm married and I have a kid, I don't think I got time for that shit because you just don't have time to even see your own your partner. But I think that you know, it has happened in the past, and again, I think you have to be very specific about your rules and boundaries.
And your boundary would be like, don't go for a movie, don't have lunch with a person. What are the boundaries like?
No, boundaries are like at least like it can't be someone from your circle or you know
But how do you deal with that jealousy? Like I love it in theory, but I just can't.
How do you do it? I don't think you can go as deep with a polyamorous relationship because although I do know people who have managed to have a lifetime and have kids as well and do it.
And happily.
Because
if you're having sex with
someone else, it was a very different period in my life. I was much younger. I wasn't interested in settling down, so it was okay. The idea was to kind of be each other's main person, but also just like sort of experiment. I know people who have done it, but I don't know if I would be able to be as invested in the long term.
Correct. Like I said, I'm okay doing it. But anyway, it's been really lovely having you in bed with me.
Thank you, Shenaz. Pleasure.
So nice to finally meet you. Thank you for doing this. And thank you for being in bed with Shenaz. And I'm going to give you this book, by the way.
Thank you.
I'll sign it for you and give it to you. Yes, this is yours.